Warning: do not watch on an empty stomach and make sure your fridge is well stocked.
Powerful purple magic beams shot down from above, striking the body of the red dragon Serena. She looked up in panic at her injured wings, then bent down to the ground, shouting, "You bastards! Don't you know about the treaty? Are you sure you can handle the consequences of this?" However, the three black dragons ignored her words. The scoundrel Gerd, standing to the side, was casting a control spell on Serena. A magical collar had locked tightly around her neck. He continued, "Everyone here knows exactly what you're talking about." Serena, furious, tried to muster her strength to break the magical collar around her neck. She shouted, "Gerd, how dare you use such cowardly magic on me?" No one noticed that Nis was focusing his magical power into a point right in front of his chest. Behind Serena. By the time Serena sensed it and turned around, it was too late. Nis had attacked her with a powerful blow. Magical light enveloped the area, and no one knew what was happening. The scene shifted to Rurin's happy domain, where Elder Geltzer of the dwarf clan was sweating and asking in surprise, "So, you just said that this creature will be the guardian of the domain?" The white cat and its two kittens were happily playing, their faces rosy and eyes sparkling, while Ellison laughed and said, "Yes. They're called Roruns." Ellison's eyes were full of satisfaction as he continued, "They used to live in a very cold place. So make sure their room is always kept at a low temperature." While the big cat Rorun was conversing with Elder Gart, Rurin, sweating, stood next to Ellison and said, "We brought them here for these mushrooms. Right? So what do we do with these truffles now?" Ellison laughed and said, "It's a very interesting job. These mushrooms have a very strong aroma. They can change the flavor of any dish they're added to, turning them into completely different delicious dishes." Rurin still seemed surprised by Ellison's words, which was understandable since she had never eaten these mushrooms before. Ellison continued, "Aren't you curious about the customers' reactions when we serve these new dishes?" The wonderful dishes with new flavors were brought to the diners' tables. And unsurprisingly, everyone enjoyed them in amazement. "Wow. This is really delicious. Is this a mushroom? I've never tasted anything like this before. Oh, this flavor?" Everyone kept eating, saying, "It's really too delicious." Of course, truffles. In real life, truffles are a luxury food, and ordinary people rarely have the chance to know about them, let alone eat them. I bet most of you watching this video have never tried truffles. And not everyone has heard of them either. Oh, maybe some of you already know about them because in the previous episode, I introduced truffles to you. At this moment, the regular customers of the Archmage's restaurant were still in a state of surprise, shock, and amazement. These words perfectly fit the current situation. This dish was truly too different, too attractive, and the flavor was impeccable. However, there was one person who didn't participate in any conversation, just focused on eating, and that was Noel, the burly butcher, strong as an ox, big as a bear, our legendary, wife-fearing man. He was eating voraciously, as was his daily habit. His way of enjoying food hadn't changed at all. Ellison stood observing, seemingly regretting seeing everyone's reactions. He thought to himself, maybe I shouldn't put these dishes on the daily menu. Editor comments, "Exactly. Genius. This is a luxury dish. And you put it on the daily menu? Who can afford that? In real life, eating just a slice of truffle costs a fortune." Back to the story in the restaurant. Ellison watched Elena and Rurin arguing until they were sweating, and thought, maybe truffles should only be served to special customers. Elena, with sparkling eyes, completely losing her usual noble elf beauty, turned to Rurin and asked, "Do you have any more of these wonderful things? Do you have any left?" Rurin snapped back, "Go back to the regular menu. Back to the daily dishes." Putting aside the cheerful story in the restaurant, let's return to the desolate scene in Serena's domain. I didn't realize she could use teleportation magic at the last moment. Nis looked at the spinning magic circle in the air in front of him. A teleportation magic circle being destroyed by another type of magic. This was the trace left by the magic. The other black dragons were whispering about the magic that had just been cast. Its rapid speed made them think she had prepared in advance to escape if there was an incident in the domain. At this moment, the scoundrel Gjerd shouted, trying to justify his mistake of letting Serena escape. It wasn't here before, he stammered, but it seemed Nys didn't care about his words. You don't need to worry, Nys said coldly. I've placed a tracking spell around this domain. The tracking magic indicates that she has moved to the city of Grake. Nekwu, one of the black dragons, immediately asked, so what do we do now? Nys smirked and replied, that spell only leads to Grake. But it seems we don't need to go there ourselves. He turned to stare at Gjerd and asked, are you sure that dragon has fled and won't find any help? Right? Gjerd, panicking, quickly replied, I'm sure she can't teleport to the castle. Serena has always been a lone dragon. I only came to see her because I felt the need to apologize to her. Nekwu, with a contemptuous look, was about to speak, but Nys interrupted. Enough. Nekwu, I don't like standing in one place smelling the stench of a scoundrel like this. We need to make Ellison fail. He turned to Gjerd and continued, if that happens, I'll turn a blind eye to what you've done. Get lost. Gjerd, seemingly about to flee, was caught and awkwardly said, okay, I'll be right back. Nys continued. Even though she escaped, the amount of blood she lost can't be recovered. That red dragon will surely die. And Ellison will be seen as the one who killed the red dragon. A perfect evidence. Back to the peaceful plains of Grake. A serene place in the city. Tonight, the sky was full of brilliant stars. The restaurant was still lit. And a voice echoed, why don't you sell the remaining truffles? Everyone loves them. Suddenly realizing something, Rurin turned her head. Both Rurin and Ellison looked towards the restaurant door, where a voice rang out, is this the restaurant? You underestimate my domain, but your place seems a bit shabby, doesn't it? Serena, with her graceful, splendid, and majestic beauty, gently stroked her fiery red hair and stepped into the restaurant. She pulled out a chair and slowly sat down at a table. Ellison, surprised, said, you're the red dragon from the mountain, right? Rurin, angry, said, what the heck are you doing here? Serena calmly replied, oh, this is a restaurant, and of course, I'm here to eat. Hurry up and bring me something to eat. I'm quite busy, can't you see? Ellison asked again, quickly? Serena confirmed, of course. Very quickly. With his skill, Ellison quickly prepared a grilled meat dish, placed it on a plate, and brought it to Serena. I've prepared a few dishes, and this is the quickest one I can make for you. But of course, I still don't know if it suits your taste. Serena, with the noble demeanor of a high-born dragon, gently picked up the fork and said, it looks delicious. Meanwhile, Rurin, not as patient as Serena, slammed her beer mug down on the table, the sound echoing throughout the restaurant. She angrily said, whatever, but answer why you're here. Serena, not bothered by Rurin's attitude, replied disdainfully, your service is really terrible. By the way, you're wearing an earring I've never seen before. This comment immediately made Rurin happy. She proudly lifted her head, gently pushed the earring forward, and said, as you can see, Ellison gave it to me as a gift. Serena, while eating and thinking, slowly said, the food here is really delicious. I've never tasted anything like this before. It's truly wonderful. But then, Serena added a provocative comment, that earring you're wearing looks good. Just like Ellison. Rurin screamed, you're just jealous of me. Do you want to die? Ellison had to hold Rurin tightly, pulling her back. Calm down. Calm down. How could she calm down? The lowly dragon always screamed whenever someone touched Ellison, like poking a hornet's nest. Dare to touch my husband. I'll fight you to the death. Rurin continued to shout. You'll never understand how I feel wearing something like this. At this moment, fatigue began to show clearly on Serena's face. Her eyes gradually lost their vibrancy, becoming dark and dull. She sighed, her voice weak. You're absolutely right. Although I don't have much time left. The food here is really delicious. It's perfectly fitting for my last meal. Both Rurin and Ellison were stunned, surprised by Serena's words. What? Last meal? They both asked in shock. Serena tried to stay calm, but sweat began to pour out, her hands trembling as she held the fork to stab the food. You know, I never knew what it felt like to be sincere with someone. I always wanted to truly love. Does love exist, or is it just a moment of emotion? Because of that, I dated countless dragons, elves, even humans. As I told you before, no dragon understands humans better than I do. Serena continued, her trembling hand preparing to snap her fingers to cast some kind of spell. Her voice grew weaker, but thinking back now, all those things were just a waste of time. Really, I always dated because I felt too lonely. Tears slowly welled up on Serena's face. Her eyes filled with tears. I did those things because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be by myself. And in the end, I was betrayed by one of my own kind, forced to flee with nowhere to escape. As she spoke, magical beams suddenly burst from Serena's back, revealing the wounds she had suffered in the previous battle. It seemed that all this time, Serena had been using illusion magic to hide her worsening condition. Realizing something was wrong, Ellison shouted, "Wait, what's with the wounds on your back?" Serena continued to speak, even as her body slowly collapsed. Should I have these strange hobbies? There are so many things out there I could accomplish instead of always searching for love. Yes, I could. Cooking is a hobby. Serena fell from her chair, collapsing in a pool of blood. Her lifeless eyes seemed to no longer perceive anything. Ellison and Rurin were horrified. Hey, wake up, Rurin shouted. Rurin spoke seriously. Her wounds are too deep. I can see her bones. Even as a dragon, she can't heal such a wound. She will die soon, Ellison added, his voice full of doubt. She hid the wounds with illusion magic. Who could have done this to her? At that moment, outside the restaurant, a teleportation magic circle appeared, signaling the arrival of uninvited guests. A voice shouted from outside, Grand Mage Ellison. You are surrounded. How dare you kill a red dragon of our clan? Inside, Rurin spoke tensely. There are many people outside. Ellison nodded, replying, yes, I can sense that too. And they are all dragons. Their timing is too precise. Too coincidental with what's happening. Ellison's face returned to its usual cold and calm demeanor. Rurin. This red dragon said she was betrayed before she passed out. Maybe she knows something important. We must save her. Take her to Elena. Rurin immediately created a teleportation magic circle and replied, all right. I remembered her location from our last meeting. What about you? Ellison donned his legendary magical cloak, his face cold and determined like the great war mage he was. I have to welcome these guests first. Wow, that's so cool. Pretty awesome, right? Looks like these dragons are done for. Of all people to mess with, they chose the strongest in the world. The restaurant doors slowly opened, and of course, our Grand Mage appeared, but not as everyone expected. Ellison stepped out with an indescribably goofy expression, smiling gently. All these important people have visited my restaurant. Why'd I have such an honor? But responding to Ellison's goofy face were threatening voices, along with magic ready in the hands of the red dragon Vaint. A magic circle was immediately summoned to track the traces of their kin. The light from Vaint's magic spread everywhere, and immediately, a corresponding light emitted from inside Ellison's restaurant. It was the trace of blood. The blood that Serena left when she collapsed. Ellison, still keeping his goofy face, spoke up. Why don't we discuss this over a few cups of tea? The red dragons outside could no longer keep their composure. They shouted angrily, You scoundrel, I'll kill you, Ellison. In their rage, all the red dragons reverted to their true forms, revealing their gigantic and powerful bodies. They cast powerful magic, ready to attack, but it seemed that the Grand Mage Ellison didn't care at all. He just sighed and gently kicked the restaurant door, causing it to slowly close, before coldly saying, It seems this is your choice. Scene shift to a forest near Ellison's restaurant, where 4 black dragons are gathered, chatting. Nice starts the discussion. From here, I can feel a strong fluctuation of mana. It seems he's better at fighting than I thought. Darba continues, sounding surprised. I never expected the red dragons to use this situation to attack Ellison. By the way, what's his name again? Knees replies calmly. Vaint. He's one of the young rising leaders of the Red Dragon clan. This plan fits his nature perfectly: reckless, impulsive, and eager for victory. These red dragons always try to project an image of unity to the outside world. But they lack concern for each individual in the clan. On the other hand, they crave fame and attention from those around them. So, when a member of the clan is attacked, they don't hesitate to retaliate, regardless of the consequences. A bunch of fools. Back at the restaurant where Ellison is facing off against the red dragons, Vaint has fully transformed into a dragon. With a challenging roar, he spits out a blazing red fireball. Roaring, "You dare mess with a red dragon?" The fireball blazes towards Ellison, but our Grand Wizard is unfazed. With a gentle gesture, he raises his hand, creating a blue magic circle in front of him. All of Vaint's fire magic is sucked into this circle, slowly shrinking before shooting into the sky, creating a thunderous explosion right in front of the restaurant. The booming explosion shakes the entire area, a testament to the Grand Wizard's power and composure. At this moment, Ellison isn't worried about the red dragons or other lesser creatures. What he fears is the battle destroying the restaurant he painstakingly built. Ellison raises his hand to the sky, preparing a spell, and says, "We will fight elsewhere. You don't want to harm innocent people, do you, Vaint?" Vaint, hearing this, transforms into a half-human, half-dragon form and agrees. Both quickly teleport out of the restaurant area. Scene shifts to Alina's house, the village doctor, who is studying healing magic, when suddenly a bright light bursts in the middle of the room. She turns around, startled, to see Rurin appear from a magic teleportation circle, holding a severely injured Serena. As soon as he steps out of the circle, Rurin urgently shouts, "Elena, come here now." Elena, startled, turns her head and exclaims in surprise, Rurin?" Rurin places Serena on the examination table, his voice full of worry. "Elena, can you save her?" Elena looks at Serena, stammering, This is a dragon?" Her hands tremble involuntarily, although she is knowledgeable in medicine. Treating a dragon, a legendary and powerful creature, is something she never imagined. Despite her fear, Elena bravely stepped forward, beginning to use her healing magic. "All right, first I need to stop the bleeding." Her hands began to emit a gentle blue light. The beams of light spread from her hands, weaving into every cell of Serena, trying to hold onto the fragile life that was slipping away. While Elena battled death in the small room, elsewhere, a life-or-death battle was about to erupt. Ellison had teleported everyone to a desolate land. Vaint spoke with a challenging tone. "This place is perfect for your grave, Ellison." Ellison quietly observed, his mind swirling with thoughts. They believed he had killed a red dragon, and that seemed to be taken for granted. But something was off. Are they really the masterminds? Or just puppets controlled by someone else? If it's the latter, I can still talk to them. "Everyone, please calm down. The blood in my restaurant is..." Ellison began. But before he could finish, Vaint angrily interrupted him. "You bastard, do you think you can fool me? That's clearly red dragon blood." Vaint roared. Ellison calmly replied, "I never denied that. Yes, it's red dragon blood. Indeed, a red dragon came to my restaurant. But she was already injured, and I didn't harm her. In fact, at that time, I was trying to save her." Vaint, startled, shouted, "She's still alive? We must see her immediately." Ellison gently stroked his chin, calmly saying, "I'm afraid you won't be able to do that." He spoke, but internally he was pondering some conspiracy simmering behind everything. Could they also be pawns in this plan? Then Ellison continued, "She was severely injured and panicked. Before passing out, she revealed that she was betrayed." Ellison continued, but before he could explain further, a sudden attack from Gjerd, Serena's former lover, lunged at him. With bloodshot eyes and a tear-streaked face, he attacked while shouting with a voice full of hatred. "How long are you going to listen to this deceitful human? He killed Serena. She told me that this bastard tried to drive her out of his territory. And when she refused, he killed her." Ellison quickly reacted, immediately raising a protective shield. still maintaining his calm demeanor, gently replying, "So the red dragon's name is Serena." He thought to himself, "This bastard is definitely one of those who tried to frame me. Could it be that the others are also accomplices or just puppets in someone else's hands?" Gjord's words ignited a blaze of anger in Vaint's eyes. He couldn't hold back any longer. Immediately transforming into a gigantic dragon, his body radiating a terrifying power, Vaint continued to roar, his shouts echoing through the space. "Ellison, how dare you try to escape this with lies? You are a fraud. I've heard enough from my clan. There's nothing left for you to justify. Prepare to die." This time, a flicker of anger began to show on Ellison's face. He looked straight at Gjord, while using his magic to prepare for battle with the dragons in the sky, and spoke coldly. "Is your clan really that important to you? If you truly cared about her, you wouldn't have let her leave your territory in such a condition that she could be severely injured. And more importantly, does Serena know the location of your territory?" Ellison's words were like a dagger to the pride of Vaint and the other dragons. Their anger reached its peak. "Shut up, you bastard! What do you know about dragon laws?" All at once, they unleashed blazing red flames aimed directly at Ellison, but with just a flick of his hand, Ellison instantly created a blue shield, his powerful blue magic blocking all the dragon's fire attacks. Ellison calmly continued, "If you're using his words as an excuse, then don't pretend you care about her." The two powerful magical forces clashed, creating a thunderous explosion. All the dragon's attacks were completely neutralized. The red dragons were stunned, unable to believe their eyes. One of them cried out in panic. "What is this? How can you?" The cowardly traitor Gjord collapsed to the ground, muttering in terror, "This human, why does he have such terrifying magical power?" In the smoky sky from the recent explosion, 4 dark figures emerged with brilliant purple magical shields. Finally, the masterminds, the 4 black dragons, revealed themselves. The side character of the side character, Knees, sneered and said, "How insolent! How dare a mere human attack the dragon clan?" Their appearance and questions shocked everyone around. Red Dragon Vaint turned to Knees, asking in surprise, "Why are your black dragons here?" Knees smirked and replied, "I sensed a strong magical fluctuation here, so I decided to join the battle according to our pact. Didn't I?" At this moment, Ellison stood on the ground, wide-eyed in surprise, looking up at the sky. He muttered in disbelief, "Knees?" It seemed Ellison knew about this side character of the side character. But Knees seemed to realize something. He looked down at Ellison and spoke with contempt. You know me? Right then." Knees fully transformed into a powerful black dragon, with glowing eyes and a commanding voice. "Humans are ultimately just weak creatures. You must pay for daring to touch what doesn't belong to you. And for not knowing your place." Ellison, still calm, paid no attention to Knees' words. He just sighed, bringing his hand to his mouth in thought. "Perhaps I need to change my plan a bit." In Grake City, at Elena's clinic, at this moment, Elena was gasping for breath, one hand resting on the table, the other trembling and limp. She tried her best, but the blood from Serena's body soaked the bedsheet, dripping onto the floor. Elena, her voice trembling and choked with emotion, said, "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I tried my best, but it's too late to save her." Serena, lying on her side on the bed, her eyes open but lifeless, her body pale, Rurin stood beside her, staring intently at Serena, as if deep in thought. Then suddenly, Rurin grabbed Elena's hand and said, "It's not too late." At the same time, Rurin channeled his magic into Elena's body. Elena felt her magic surge, but didn't understand what was happening. Why is this happening? My magic is..." Elena mumbled in confusion, but Rurin quickly interrupted. "Don't worry about the mana you're losing. Keep treating her." Meanwhile, on the battlefield, 3 black dragons were spewing dark purple magic towards Ellison. But Ellison, with his vast experience, placed his hand on the ground, using earth magic to raise stone walls to block all the attacks. Hiding behind the rocks, Ellison thought, "I can't kill them. Everything will get chaotic even if Serena is still alive. But there are too many of them. I can only defend passively." But if I use what I have at hand, I might maintain a balance. Editor comments. Oh man. At a time like this, you're still sticking to your peace treaty with these riffraff? Narrator comments. With ELL's power, these pests would be done with just one strike. But the peace treaty is very important. L isn't afraid for himself. But if war breaks out, many innocent people will die, causing great damage. No one wants war, only madmen do. Back to the battle. Ellison continued to use his magic to block and counterattack. He created small stone blocks and shot them towards the black dragons, injuring many. Knees exclaimed in surprise. Why is he so strong? But too arrogant. Knees kept creating powerful magic in the sky and shouted, "You too, support me." The three black dragons combined their powers to create a massive dark purple magic ball in the sky, then launched it towards Ellison. Try blocking this, Knees challenged. Ellison looked at the magic ball and thought, damn, this thing is going to give me a bit of trouble. In the sky, Knees and the other two dragons had finished preparing their grand magic. Feeling extremely excited, ready to unleash it on Ellison, he sneered, "This is your end." Just as the three dragons were about to launch their grand magic at Ellison, a booming voice echoed across the battlefield. Stop. All the dragons froze. Ellison looked up at the sky in surprise, where four magic teleportation circles slowly appeared. Even though the people hadn't arrived yet, this voice had already made the red dragons tremble. You fools, do you want to start another war? The voice belonged to the elder of the Red Dragon clan, Dead Ink, and standing beside him was the elder of the Black Dragon clan, Metadonna. Behind them were two other elders from the two clans. Metadonna coldly spoke. You're always at the center of every trouble. Ellison, what do you have to say about this? Ellison took off his wizard hat and smiled, saying, finally, you've arrived. I never thought I'd be happy to see you like this. Elder. At this moment, seeing the dragon elders arrive, Knees quickly transformed into his human form. He placed his hand on his chest in the dragon clan's salute, then bowed. Greetings, Elder Metadonna. In his mind, Knees thought, now, that human must give a satisfactory answer to the elders. This is a perfect opportunity to punish him. Moreover, Rurin is the elder's granddaughter. Her presence will surely make this situation more serious. If it's confirmed that he killed a red dragon, it could lead to a death sentence. Meanwhile, Ellison stood on the ground, looking up at the dragons circling in the sky, then turned to look at Knees. Is that all he thinks about? But I believe Rurin and Elena will save Serena. Scene shift to Elena's clinic. Elena was putting all her strength into stopping Serena's bleeding, but the blood kept flowing. Rurin placed his hands on Elena, channeling mana into her body and said, Elena, this time is different from before. The amount of mana I'm giving you and the amount you're using can't be cautious like before. We will continue until Serena is saved. Elena, despite her panic, nodded in agreement. Rurin sternly added, I have a feeling that saving this girl is the only way to protect Ellison. We need a witness, and that's why I've changed my decision. Now, I won't just channel mana to you but will synchronize the entire dragon energy into your body. If you can't control this mana, your body will explode from overload. Elena was stunned, terrified by the horrific prospect. But with the spirit of a dedicated doctor, she clenched her fists and resolutely said, Do it. Rurin smiled approvingly. I like you. Be careful. Immediately, a massive surge of mana flooded into Elena's body, shocking her completely. This was the first time Elena experienced such terrifying magical power. She felt as if she was being enveloped in the protective embrace of a dragon. This power was overwhelming compared to what Elena had known. Her body began to crack, her hands becoming dry and cracked like a shattered stone. Rurin shouted, I can't stop. We must synchronize together. You can't use a bucket to empty the sea. Push all the mana into the healing spell immediately. Elena instantly used all her mana, releasing it outward and channeling it directly into Serena's body. A massive purple-blue magical force spread out, Elena's eyes glowing brightly. The wound on Serena's back gradually closed, and the bleeding stopped. Rurin continued to shout, Serena, you must wake up. Show us the strength of the dragon's soul. As if hearing Rurin's words, Serena's eyes began to move, and she slowly regained consciousness. Scene shift back to the battlefield. Elder Metadonna coldly spoke. So, Ellison killed a red dragon named Serena, and you are punishing him. Correct? He turned to the black dragons and continued. You discovered the red dragons being attacked and helped them according to the Dragon Pact? Nis bowed his head and replied. Yes, Elder. Suddenly, Vaint roared angrily. Elder, why hesitate? Serena's blood is everywhere. If it were any other person, I wouldn't doubt it, but he is a dragon slayer. A dragon killer. Ellison still stood firm on the ground, calmly saying, as I said, let's sit down and talk. Perhaps over a cup of tea. But before he could finish, he was interrupted by the bastard Gjerd, who shouted, I am a witness. He killed Serena. If you don't believe me, we can go to her territory right now to verify. Elder Dehegma, quietly standing behind, stroked his beard thoughtfully. So this is Nis's plan? If these black dragons joined the battle just to help the red dragons and Serena who was attacked, then even if the charges against Ellison are dropped, the consequences won't negatively affect us. Elder Dedink of the Red Dragon clan spoke calmly but with authority. Even though Serena's territory is near Grake, that's not a reason to start a war. What do you think, Metadonna? Metadonna continued. Ellison, do you have anything to say? Ellison now smiled foolishly and replied, nothing? I have a lot to say. He continued, first, Gjerd accuses me of killing Serena just because her territory is near Grake. But anyone with war experience knows I would never kill a dragon for that reason. Isn't that right, Dedink? Elder Dedink nodded thoughtfully. Yes. That's true. Ellison continued. The only condition I set in war is not to kill other races. I swore I would never touch anyone who follows this principle. Even the red dragons who started the previous war. But killing a dragon just because its territory is near Grake is nonsense. Vaint angrily shouted. That's just your excuse. But Ellison calmly continued. Second, these black dragons appeared right when the attack happened. Since when did dragons become so friendly with each other? They arrived immediately, or they knew in advance what would happen. Nis quickly spoke up. I sensed the mana disturbance and came according to the established pact. Elder Metadonna sternly looked at Ellison, her voice cold. Is that all you want to say? Are you implying that the red dragons and black dragons set a trap? And you fell into it? Ellison put on his goofy face, smiled slightly, gave a thumbs up, and said, exactly, Elder. Unable to endure any longer, Elder Dedink of the Red Dragon clan unleashed a terrifying surge of mana. Roaring. I can't let this pass easily. Do you have proof? Ellison smirked and replied, proof? Perhaps it would be better to hear from the person involved in this matter. Right? As soon as he finished speaking, a teleportation portal gradually appeared behind Ellison. Seeing this, Nis suddenly panicked, and the surrounding black dragons were stunned. What is this? How can this happen? Even Gjerd, the traitor who loudly accused Serena, stood frozen in place, speechless. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone focused their eyes on Serena, the alluring red dragon in the center of the event. With a seductive figure, she stepped in, her fiery red hair flowing, shining like a flame in the dark. She gently brushed her hair, smiled mysteriously, and said teasingly, oh, it seems like I see a lot of familiar faces today. Everyone looks particularly special. The space became strangely quiet. Serena's words left everyone stunned. As if drawn into the vortex of her dangerous allure, Ellison gently turned to Elena, softly praising, you did it, Elena. But Elena, a shy elf, couldn't keep her composure, her face pale, her eyes wandering in invisible fear. She mumbled in panic, dragon nobles, dragons, dragon nobles. 1, 2, how many? She began to count, her voice breaking. 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, Rurin turned to Ellison and said, I tried to use a type of energy transfer magic called synchronization. Because ordinary healing spells couldn't heal Serena's wounds. The atmosphere gradually changed as Rurin's eyes turned to the sky. A flash of alertness in her gaze. She noticed the appearance of Nis, a minor character of a minor character, an old enemy. His face was pale, fear evident in every feature. Ellison bent down, whispering seriously and coldly into Rurin's ear. You see him too, right? Wait a moment, I have a plan. Ellison continued with a calm demeanor, waving to Serena in a friendly manner. Serena, are you okay? Serena turned back, a bright smile on her face. Of course. Very okay. You all did very well. But, before we talk, how do you know my name? Before Serena could get an answer, a punch came out of nowhere, knocking her down, a large bump forming on her head. She looked up, eyes brimming with tears. Why did you hit me? Ellison stood there, his fist still clenched, smiling coldly. Why? Don't you recognize this situation? Thanks for bringing trouble to my restaurant. Splattering blood everywhere. Cleaning up isn't easy. Now, quickly explain. Serena, eyes still teary from the pain, then casually pointed to those standing in the distance. All right, those guys. 4 black dragons and that bastard Gjerd. Where did he run off to? Of course he ran. Standing here is just asking to die. So he'll definitely sneak away as fast as he can. Serena continued, her voice becoming more serious. All 5 of them broke into my territory. Ambushed me. Then, this black dragon and an elf treated me. They are the ones who saved my life. Not enemies. The 2 great elders of the 2 clans behind broke out in cold sweat. Observing the situation with dark eyes, Serena turned back to Ellison, asking softly, is that enough? Ellison stroked his chin, thinking for a moment, then nodded. All right. Rurin standing beside didn't forget to remind. You should praise and thank me more. Suddenly, a shout came from afar. Ellison. The red dragon Vaint swooped down from above, eyes blazing as he stared at Ellison. He knelt before Ellison, shouting, I'm sorry, I did terrible things to you. I accept any punishment you give me. Ellison looked down at Vaint, his face showing boredom. Your apology is as quick as when you attack others. Huh? All right, fine, but for those liars, that's a different story. The black dragons roared, Elder. We were just following orders. Metadonna, one of the elders, roared in anger. Silence. The only thing I want to hear now is not excuses. Tell me why you dared to do this when you knew it would break the pact. Knees, standing quietly in the distance, cold sweat pouring down his face, eyes full of panic, he gasped, his mind in turmoil. Clearly, this wound can't be healed. The internal organs are all burned. No. The problem isn't just there. We've spent too much time trying to kill this wizard. Why is everything ending like this? Fear took over Nisa's mind, his eyes becoming increasingly crazed. He's a human with terrifying power, and Rurin too. This is too much for an ordinary human. In a fit of rage, Nis hissed, claws extending, channeling all his magic into his hands. Then shooting straight at Ellison. Know your place. Inferior human. A massive energy beam shot straight at Ellison, exploding in a blinding light, engulfing the entire scene. Everything seemed to drown in light. No one could know what was happening. In the blinding light of the attack, Ellison only had time to push Rurin aside and take the full force of Nisa's powerful magic on his back. Pain spread throughout his body, and Nis couldn't hide his satisfaction as he saw Ellison collapse, leaving a pool of blood. Rurin, panicked, looked at the scene in front of her and screamed. Why did you push me aside? Your blood is flowing. This can't be happening. Everyone around was stunned. Elena, terrified and shocked, looked at the fallen Grand Mage, trembling, not knowing what to do. Meanwhile, the red dragon Vaint roared. Nis, attacking from behind? Do you have any honor left? Do you think everything you do can fix your mistakes? Nis screamed, madly. I am the only one trying to save the Dragon Clan. Why do we have to follow the terms of the pact so foolishly? That's why the Lord can't be born. Can't stop creatures with great power. Vaint looked at him, eyes wide, not believing what he was hearing. What? Nis continued, with madness. Look at this human. He can't counter our attacks. If left alone, he will become a threat to our Dragon Clan in the future. The 2 great elders of the Dragon Clan listened, their eyes full of apprehension but unable to hide their disdain. They thought Nys was just an arrogant kid who didn't understand. If Grand Mage Ellison was really that easy to defeat, the elders would have dealt with him long ago during the war, without needing a kid like Nys to do such unnecessary things. Back to Elena. She was trying to use healing magic to save Ellison. She turned to Rurin and said, "Miss Rurin, why not synchronize magic with me again?" But then Elena noticed something unusual. Rurin, with tears streaming down, mumbled, "Ellison, wake up. The territory will be completed soon. Without you." The little dragon girl trembled in pain. Nothing more painful than seeing the one she loved fall before her eyes. Nys continued to laugh, his eyes full of satisfaction. He looked at Rurin and mumbled, "That's right, Rurin, this is the face you should have." He turned to Elena, with a contemptuous look. "Elf, everything you do is useless. Even though he has powerful magic like a dragon, he is still just a human. There's no way he can survive this attack." The hot red dragon Serena spoke up. "Do you really think so? You love to attack from behind, just like you did to me. And you, Rurin, are you stupid? I know you're shocked, but don't you see something unusual?" Serena continued, "His magic is still strong. Don't you realize it's being amplified?" As Serena said, around Ellison, white magic light radiated, enveloping his body. A hand gently wiped the tear from Rurin's face. Ellison, with a warm voice, said, "Don't cry anymore." Immediately, a terrifying surge of magic exploded from within Ellison, making the surrounding area glow brightly. Everyone was surprised, not understanding what was happening. Elder Metadonna, sweating coldly, mumbled, "This energy source, this is the ancient dragon stone. Our Grand Mage has returned, and stronger than ever." Narrator comments, "That's right. I've also found this quite unreasonable. The strongest person on the continent can't be defeated by just one blow from a small dragon like that. Remember, Ellison is the one who defeated and absorbed the heart of the Dragon Lord." Ellison stood there, holding the ancient dragon stone, focusing his magic into it. He said sincerely, "In fact, I took a gamble." As the ancient dragon stone glowed and was absorbed into his body, a pair of magical blue dragon wings sprouted from his back. Our Grand Mage, already very powerful, now became incredibly mighty. "I was worried you might run away from the fight. But honestly, I thank you for attacking me." "Nys," Ellison said, gently patting Rurin's head. His bright smile left her still in shock. Perhaps her emotions needed time to recover. But let's temporarily skip the detailed description of Rurin's pain or emotions to focus on Nys, the minor character of a minor character. At this moment, Nys was stunned, sweating profusely, not understanding what was happening. He stammered, Why is it like this?" The Grand Mage smiled lightly and replied, "Why, your magic seems just enough to awaken the ancient dragonstone. But honestly, that attack was too weak to kill me instantly." Nys gritted his teeth, beginning to transform into his dragon form. He opened his mouth, concentrating all his energy to launch a massive energy ball. He roared, "Even if I have to use all my mana, I will die with you." But his attempt at mutual destruction seemed impossible. Ellison calmly walked forward, slowly approaching Nys, and gently blocked his magic attack, dissipating it immediately. Ellison said in a calm voice, "Your breath is too weak. You clearly know the terms of the pact, right? According to the rules, attacking other races is prohibited, even for dragons. However, attacks are allowed if it involves protecting one's life." Ellison continued to activate his magic, and numerous magic circles appeared in the sky. Fiery meteor showers rained down from above. Facing the meteor shower, Nys, like a puppy, looked small and weak. He screamed in panic, "Impossible! An ordinary human, a lowly human, can't." But he couldn't escape the terrifying meteor shower. The ground shook, the scene completely destroyed. Only burning rocks remained on the ground. And among the rocks, the tail and wings of a dragon lay buried under the rubble. The other dragons were stunned by the scene. The black dragons whispered, "Asterisk. He killed a dragon. Like killing a worm." The Grand Mage's magical power was truly not to be underestimated. Ellison, with a face that couldn't be more handsome and cool, turned to Rurin and said, asterisk. Rurin, let's go home. Our little dragon Loli was still teary-eyed, not knowing what to say. Then she weakly said, okay. Immediately, Rurin rushed into Ellison's arms, hugging him tightly as if afraid that if she let go, she would lose him forever. Her tears flowed like uncontrollable streams, mixed with overwhelming joy and happiness. She felt every heartbeat of Ellison through his clothes, and all previous fears and worries seemed to vanish. Despite the surrounding sea of flames and the gazes of onlookers, Rurin didn't care. The world around her became blurry, leaving only the warmth and safety from Ellison. She held him tightly, as if that could last forever, not caring about the chaos and destruction happening around them. Tears streamed down her cheeks, each drop carrying the pain and worries she had silently endured. She sobbed uncontrollably, no longer able to hide her emotions. She was completely immersed in the happiness of knowing that the one she loved, who had faced death, was still here beside her. Ellison, feeling her tension and pain, gently hugged her back, his hand soothing her. This warm and sincere feeling was all Rurin needed at that moment. I hate when you smile at me because you make me crazy about you. I hate when you talk to me because you make me run out of words. I hate you when I see you because you make me love you more. I asked God for a rose and he gave me a garden. I asked God for a drop of water and he gave me an ocean. I asked God for an angel and he gave me you. What is love? Those who don't like it call it responsibility. Those who play with it call it a game. Those who don't have it call it a dream. Those who understand it call it destiny. And me, I call it you. I'll lend you my shoulder for you to cry on, my ears to listen to, my hand for you to hold, my feet to walk with you. But I can't lend you my heart because it already belongs to you. To the world you may be one person, but to one person you may be the world. After that, no one at the scene said another word about the events that had occurred. The Dragon Clan elders handled all the remaining matters of the event. Metadonna of the Black Dragon Clan spoke. Nekwu, Darba, Hoven, you three will be imprisoned in the sanctuary for 3.000 years. After the culprits were punished, Serena, the one who was attacked, probably received the most benefits. Miss Serena's territory has been fully repaired, and here are some treasures to compensate for her territory. I noticed that her territory had very few treasures, probably stolen when they attacked this place. Although these treasures are quite few, I hope they can somewhat replenish her territory. Of course, the one who said this was the hot-headed, foolish but quite righteous Red Dragon Vaint. Serena looked at the pile of treasures filling her territory, her eyes sparkling. Her territory was originally miserably poor, and of course, she wasn't foolish enough to refuse such a windfall. So she immediately shouted, "That's right, they stole all my treasures. Dragons are still dragons, always greedy for treasures." However, Serena suddenly became serious and asked, "Besides, that bastard Gjerd still hasn't been found, right?" Vaint, with a panicked look, explained, "We have formed a team to hunt him down. We will find him soon." Then he clenched his fist and roared, "I promise, when we catch him, we will repay the pain you suffered twice over." Still probably bitter about being tricked last time, Serena sighed, smiling gently. "All right, I also want to see that happen." And so, the great chaotic event at the Grand Mage's restaurant came to an end. Although the event had ended, Rurin still felt very upset. She sulked in the corner of the bed, turning her face away, not wanting to talk to Ellison. The main character, slightly puzzled, asked, "What's wrong, Rurin?" Rurin, still very upset, turned her face inward and shouted, "Everything you did today was so stupid. If knees had been a bit stronger, you could have died before the ancient dragon stone awakened. I thought about the worst thing that could happen to you." Ellison could only stand there, speechless and sweating. He stepped forward, gently hugging Rurin from behind. Despite her crying, Rurin yelled, "What are you doing?" Ellison gently said, "I'm sorry, Rurin, I didn't consider your feelings. I should have explained to you beforehand. The reason I took that risk was because of you." Suddenly, a voice interrupted the romantic scene between the two. "That's enough." Both of them jumped, letting go of each other and turning around. The grand elder of the dragon clan, Metadona. This old man really knew how to ruin the moment.